A very good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and you are just in time for The Ambassador. This is where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. I am your ambassador, Susan Nganga, and to our first story. President William Ruto started his 4-day tour to China, and today, the president gave his lecture at the Peking University in Beijing, where he stated on diplomatic relationship between Kenya and China, joining a global web for development and proper exchange of goods and services. The president will also be meeting with Xi Jinping of China. The president also spoke on the efforts of the two nations to work on global change, as Davis Karani reports.
To breed development and mutual benefit between the two nations, as the president stated on the importance to promote education by observing the major pillars of diplomacy.
We are proud of our academic collaboration, including the partnership with Kenyatta University in literature and cultural studies. Indeed, education is a pillar of our diplomatic partnership. As Kenya, and as we deepen our focus on science, technology, and innovation, we welcome further partnerships with Chinese institutions, particularly in STEM fields.
This is after Kenya, led by President William Ruto, signed a cooperation agreement with China aimed to foster a proper work frame between the two nations, which Mr. Cheng, the director of Chongqing Company, stated on their commitment to continue investing in the country.
All the factory buildings have been leased to 4 government factories. The first factory has been put into production, and the other 3 factories will start operating within this year. More than 15,000 jobs will be created by our investment. Our 3 years investment experience in Kenya proves that it has a very bright future to invest in manufacturing industry in Kenya.
The president also stated on the Kenya's efforts to manage global climate change, while stating on the strides that Kenya is making to manage the entire situation.
Kenya, on the other hand, generates 90% of its electricity from renewables and has enshrined climate adaptation in law. Nairobi is now home to the second headquarters of the Global Center on Adaptation, the first global institution co-located in both the Global North and Global South. I wish to commend China for its leadership in renewable energy technologies, particularly in solar power and electric vehicles.
Davis Karani for GBS Ambassador.
In a major development that could reshape the political landscape in Ivory Coast, opposition leader Tijane has been officially barred from running in the upcoming presidential election. A court ruling has stripped him of his Ivorian nationality, sparking outrage from his supporters and raising questions about the fairness of the electoral process. Here's more on that story.
Ivory Coast main opposition leader Tidjane Thiam has been removed from the electoral list ahead of the October presidential election. A court ruled that Thiam lost his Ivorian nationality when he became a French citizen in 1987, despite renouncing it earlier this year to qualify for the presidency. Thiam's lawyers argue that he was French by birth, making him exempted from nationality laws that strip citizenship when another is acquired. But the court rejected that claim, a decision which cannot be appealed. Supporters call it a political move to block Thiam's candidacy, as other political opposition figures have also been barred. With the election approaching, the ruling raises serious concerns about fairness and political transparency in Ivory Coast. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
We'll keep you updated as that story develops now. At least 26 people have been killed and dozens injured after gunmen opened fire on a group of tourists and locals near the popular resort town of Pahalgam in Indian-administered Kashmir. The attack occurred in a remote area known for its natural beauty, drawing widespread concern and condemnations across the country. Authorities say the assailants targeting civilians in what is now being described as one of the most serious incidents in the region in recent years. Triza Tiengo reports.
At least 26 people have been killed and dozens more injured after gunmen opened fire on a group of tourists and locals near the popular resort town of Pahalgam in Indian-administered Kashmir. The attack occurred in a remote mountainous area accessible only on foot or horseback, catching many off guard. Eyewitnesses described scenes of panic and confusion as security forces struggled to respond.
We have been stopped for the past 2 hours. We do not know what is happening. The authorities have no answers. We have been traveling since morning from Jammu and our hotel is just 7 kilometers away.
Authorities have blamed militants for the assault, calling it the most significant targeted attack on civilians in the region in the recent years, and that tourists should not feel unsafe since the event is rare in the region.
We are asking tourists who are coming to Jammu and Kashmir not to panic. There is peace in the region and the government is also with us. The incidents will be thoroughly investigated and we need to stay strong and united.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi strongly condemned the violence, vowing that the perpetrators will be brought to justice. The attack has sparked a wave of protests and public outrage across the country, with candlelight vigils and rallies held in several cities. Some citizens have demanded the resignation of Home Affairs Minister, criticizing the government's handling of security in the region. However, local officials maintain that such attacks are rare and have reassured travelers that the area remains safe, especially with the heightened security measures. The incident has also disrupted tourism in Pahalgam, a region known for its natural beauty and tranquility, as authorities launch a full investigation into the deadly assault. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
On more updates on that story, tourists have started to desert the area now. Cameroon is facing a major education crisis this week as thousands of teachers walk off the job in a coordinated national strike dubbed Eco Motor, which means dead school. The movement has brought learning to a halt across the country. At the heart of the protest, a call for urgent reforms to fix what unions say is a broken system. Here's more on the strike shaking the nation's classrooms.
Schools across Cameroon have shut down as teachers launch a 4-day nationwide strike demanding urgent reforms. The Ecole Morte movement, backed by over a dozen unions, highlights deep frustrations over poor conditions and a lack of progress on long-standing issues. Key demands include a national forum to rethink education, better recognition of teachers' special status, and a collective agreement for private school educators. Despite recent talks with the government, unions say action has been too little, too late. Therefore, teachers are calling for real change, not promises. As classrooms remain empty, the pressure is now on the government to respond with solutions that respect and support the profession. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
Now on updates regarding Pope Francis. Pope Francis' coffin has arrived at St. Peter's Basilica, where he will lie in a state to allow the Catholic faithful to pay their respects before his funeral that is expected to be attended by world leaders including US President Donald Trump. Bells tolled slowly as the coffin entered the basilica at 9:30 a.m. local time, that is around 3:30 a.m. East African time on Wednesday, while mourners in the piazza broke outside into applause. The Litany of Saints, a formal prayer of the Roman Catholic Church, is now underway at the Basilica. Today's procession began with Pope Francis' body being moved from the chapel of the Casa Santa residence, where he lived during his papacy. The procession travels through Piazza Santa Marta and the Piazza Romani, passing through the Arch of the Bells and into St. Peter's Square, before entering St. Peter's Basilica through the central door. Prior to the procession, Kevin Farrell, the cardinal tasked with arranging the papal funeral and conclave, held a brief service in the chapel with a short antiphon of hope. The ambassador will take a short break. We'll be back with even more.
Topic of discussion leo is a hustle culture. Hustle culture, and this is working smart versus working hard.
Working hard is where nina hustle. I'm working like a donkey.
Unaweza pata maybe ulisoma, yes, maybe kumaliza shule, maybe hii inahitaji maybe diploma, maybe ulifika certificate level. So I feel pia knowledge inachangia sana.
Yes,
watu kukua kwa informal.
You have to like plan. You also have to delegate, and it's also sometimes about convenience. What is convenience for you?
Tunaweza work smart hata kama ni kwa informal jobs. Tuki-apply hiyo working smart, we can do something. Si lazima tu ikuwe ni kazi ile uko chini.
I'm picking a dare. What? Call your mom or dad and sing the chorus of their favorite song loudly. Mama Vanessa, we are live on TV. I need to...
Which TV?
GBS TV. I'm on the Youth Hub and they want me to sing you a song. I've been dared to sing your favorite song. So
no, don't sing that one, man.
No.
Sing yours.
No, I will sing a nice one. I know many of your songs.
Sing Daddy's song.
I sing Daddy's song, fine.
Loudly, read.
I love you.
Shout.
You're my baby. I love you. You're the best. Bye, mommy. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
I go.
My name is Tracy Otonde. I'm Miss County Nairobi and I'm also Miss Embakasi East. Modeling is an art by virtue of the model and by virtue of the designers. That's if we look at modeling in terms of pageantry, you're showcasing yourself. You yourself is a work of art. You're a work of art and you're showcasing everything that's in you and within you. And by virtue of the designer is because you keep showcasing the attires that they're made for you. And you have to look the part for you to be able to showcase what the designer was picturing. So yeah, modeling is an art.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin now. A massive wildfire continues to burn through Ocean County, New Jersey, scorching thousands of acres and forcing more than 3,000 residents to evacuate. The fire spread rapidly due to strong winds and dry conditions, threatening over 1,000 structures and closing a major stretch of the Garden State Parkway. Fire crews are working around the clock to contain the blaze as officials monitor changing weather conditions and ongoing risk to nearby communities. Triza Tiango reports.
To ravage parts of Ocean County, New Jersey, burning over 8,000 acres with only 10% containment. The fire has forced more than 3,000 residents to evacuate their homes and threatened over 1,000 structures. A portion of the Garden State Parkway was shut down due to the intense smoke and flames. Firefighting crews launched a backfiring operation on Tuesday, but strong winds earlier in the day fueled the fire's rapid spread. Emergency shelters have been set up to assist evacuees, while the cause of the fire still remains under investigation. Conditions are gradually improving as the winds, which had previously intensified the flames, have calmed down.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has cancelled his scheduled visit to London, leading to postponement of key talks between American, European and Ukrainian officials. The meeting, originally planned to include top foreign ministers, was expected to build on last week's discussions in Paris. Meanwhile, in southern Ukraine, a critical blow to infrastructure as Russian forces destroyed a key energy facility in Kherson region early Wednesday. The attack left the city of Kherson without electricity following over 4 hours of relentless artillery and drone strikes. Here's more on the scene.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio cancelled a meeting regarding a ceasefire proposal for Ukraine. Rubio's decision reflects growing concerns that Ukraine and Russia may return to a firmer stance, making compromise less likely. While technical meetings in London will still take place, the absence of high-level figures signals a lack of unified momentum. US President Donald Trump had recently pushed for rapid progress, warning that the US could disengage without meaningful movement, though some of Washington's proposals, like recognition of Russia's annexation of Crimea, have been rejected by both Europe and Ukraine. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is set to meet Putin in Russia and discuss issues related to sanctions and security guarantees for Ukraine. Russia attacked a key energy facility in southern Ukraine. The targeted infrastructure was essential for powering the city of Kherson, which now faces a blackout as emergency crew assesses the damage and begin restoration efforts. The latest assault underscores Russia's continued strategy of targeting Ukraine's energy facility, weaponizing darkness against civilians. As power cuts ripple through the region, the humanitarian impact deepens, highlighting the urgent need for increased international support, not only for Ukraine's defense, but for the protection and repair of its civilian infrastructure. This is Abdi Hamid Ali, GBS News.
Thank you, Abdi, for that report. Now, French Foreign Minister Barrot has today met with his Iraq counterpart as part of a regional tour that also includes visit to Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. The visit aims to strengthen bilateral relations between France and Iraq as they continue the fight against ISIS terrorism and promote Iraq as a center of regional stability. Barrot's discussions also align with France's broader diplomatic efforts to advance peace in the Middle East, including supporting a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and encouraging normalization between Israel and Arab states. The visit follows an earlier phone call in January 2025 between Barrot and Iraq Foreign Minister Hussein, where they discussed regional stability and the possibility of holding a new Baghdad conference to address international developments. Tensions between Israel and Lebanon flared again after an Israeli drone strike killed the senior commander from the Sunni Islamic militant group near Beirut. The Israeli military confirmed the strike, identified the target as Hussein Atawi, a key figure linked to Hamas, accused of orchestrating cross-border attacks. Meanwhile, tensions continue to simmer in the Middle East as Israel reported a potential missile interception over its territory early Wednesday morning. air raid sirens were triggered in several areas, sparking concern, but no physical damage or casualties have been reported. Abdiamil Ali brings us that report.
The Israeli military conducted a drone strike, killing a senior commander of a Sunni Islamist group called Jam'a Islamiyah. The commander played a critical role in planning hostile operations against Israeli troops along the northern border. His assassination occurred as he traveled from his home to his office in the Lebanese capital. Jam'a Islamiyah confirmed his death, describing him as a leader of the group's armed wing, the Fajr Forces, a faction responsible for multiple rocket attacks during last year's conflict. This strike is part of a broader pattern of Israeli military operations in southern Lebanon, where tensions persist despite a ceasefire. The continued presence of Israeli military on Lebanese territory and repeated airstrikes have drawn condemnation from Hezbollah, Jam'a Islamiyah, and Lebanese officials who accuse Israel of violating Lebanese sovereignty. The Israeli military announced it had most likely intercepted a missile launch from Yemen, underscoring a growing threat from the Iran-backed Houthi movement. The Houthis intensified attacks towards Israel in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. This escalation highlights the broader regional implication of the Gaza conflict, drawing in actors beyond Gaza and further entrenching instability. As multiple fronts remains active, the potential for a wider conflict looms, emphasizing the urgent need for diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions and prevent further civilian suffering. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS News.
The 2025 Shanghai Auto Show took place amid significant challenges for the car industry, primarily due to escalating US-China trade tensions and growing safety concerns. Despite the tough climate, the event remained a key industry gathering, showcasing over 100 new or updated models from more than 70 domestic and international automakers. This underscores the intense competition and unpredictability of the Chinese car market, which remains a focal point for global auto players. The trade war has severely impacted car manufacturers, especially after US President Donald Trump imposed a 145% tax on Chinese goods, prompting retaliatory tariffs from Beijing. These actions disrupted supply chains and dampened demand, leading experts to lower global economy forecast. And that's all for today here at The Ambassador. Thank you for joining us as we uncover the latest development. We'll continue to bring you updates on these stories and more as they unfold. Remember, this is The Ambassador, where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. I have been your ambassador, Susan Nganga. Have a good afternoon.
Everywhere, GBS.